Welcome back! We're going to have Evil Genius Academy versus Dignitas Academy in just a moment. As a reminder, there is a 5-minute delay to preserve competitive integrity, given that the games are being played online. But we should be into the game in just a moment, as we are going to jump in. And Coco, this is a fun one. I certainly hope it's shorter than our last game, although we'll have to see. I am expecting Dignitas to play a bit more aggressively, but you never know.
Yeah, I'd expect them to play aggressively with the composition that they made. If you missed it, well, you got an Eco top and you got a Morgana with not a fasting Senna for Phoenix. Oh no, actually it is fasting Senna. I do see the support item for Phoenix, but a little bit of context on why Lorlo? Why did you pick Nico? Why did you do this to me? It's because of the attack speed growth buff that you were able to get. Also, the additional buff that she was able to get on her E for some snares. So For Dig, they're looking at Lorlo and saying, all right, this is probably the best time to shine for him. Just get some highlight plays in the reel, so it's not just Demonte and Phoenix.
Yeah, Lorlo, I think, has been, trying to make a case for, being put back into the LCS. Has put in a lot of time, both on stream and in Academy, and has looked fairly good. It has been a while since he's played on that bigger stage. So certainly looking to impress here with the Nico, and has also clearly been playing a lot of solo queue, because this is something that I'm sure is running rampant at higher levels of play, or maybe just everywhere. But right now with the augment, it does seem like he is going to be going AP, but as you noted, the attack speed got buffed as well. So Nico just kind of feels better across the board with either build. So I think Lorlo actually has a lot of flexibility here with how he wants to be playing this 1v1.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's sort of the same thing with like when you pick a Kennen top, like you go the Dorn's Ring and the Dorn's Blade just for that laning proficiency, and then you start to scale for those other items later on. So mostly for that. The other thing too, like not just looking at Lorlo, you got to look at Gyu as well. Like this is the second game he's going to be playing with EG. Will he perform up to par? Big question mark on that, and especially when you're against Demonte, who is already notorious in this Academy scene for really just wanting to get back into the LCS.
Yeah, we'll have to find out, but Phoenix and Ole off to a good start. Already getting that push on early. Morgana, of course, pretty good at pushing lanes, and when she gets to take to CS, it's even easier for Ole as the lane rolls on. I see how definitely and Matt can navigate with a much more defensive duo lane here, but Felios and Tahm Kench, both very potent champions, especially in the team fight, so we'll see how it all shakes out. But as always, we're expecting Dig to be aggressive here in every single lane if they can. That's pretty much been their thing.
Yeah, like you saw Phoenix and Ole just get to that level 2 a little bit faster than Definitely and Matt, so they immediately put on the pressure, invested into that side, and also with Brandini, who was able to get to level 2 faster than Lorlo, he's sort of doing the same as well. Like you want to make sure that there's at least some sense of a lane to play through. Like right now we see Gio shoved out that lane, looking to see if he could get some vision onto Greg, and they know that he is around on this top side just because of those general starts, which means you could possibly be looking for a first blood this time around in this top end.
Yeah, we'll see. Certainly on the right side here for Andreas, his path from bot to top. He's cleared out the bot side fully.
Yep, there we go.
Lorlo just getting pushed in right now. Trying to poke back and forth, but here comes Greg up towards the top lane. Brandini, you're going to get locked down. Slowed still by the Glacial Augment, but a root on the bottom side as well is going to put Matt in place. And despite the pressure, Greg will pick the axe up and go through, but Gyu also going to roam up. Demonte is here as well, so first blood on the table. Who's going to grab it? Haymaker Shield going to keep him alive for a little while longer, but Gyu with a wonderful double flash in, gets the Spell Thief Sparkles and gets first blood.
And that's exactly what we wanted from Gio. The question mark has been answered, and using both of the summoners with that double flash on top of it, beautiful Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and all of the recipes for disaster were being cooked up. EG knew that they could find first blood here in this top side, and Anda and Gio immediately prepared for it. Brandini also was lucky that he was in the vicinity to pick up that assist as well, so now it's that question again of will Dig be able to find another avenue of approach to really create some aggression, because you're not really going to get it out of a Senna Morgana lane, especially when Greg doesn't really have any sense of opening for Matt and Def.
Yeah, it's really just been the thing about Zoe that's been so frustrating is like, yeah, 1v1, she like stabilizes a lot of lanes, and it's okay, but as soon as she leaves the lane and gets around an objective and starts shooting you through the fog of war, it just feels bad, man. So Gyu off to another good start here. Again, his second Academy game of the split, only very recently joining EG. Good route there from Ole. Clearly well practiced on this Morgana, but Matt's just going to take some damage and try and shake it off. Again, not too much actual fighting in the bottom lane.
like this is a deal with it until you can get out of it situation with Aphelios and Tom Kench. Like Matt just has to take the brutish amount of damage, so definitely can at least survive through the farming phase. Like you're sitting right now 34 to 30, doing pretty darn well for himself, and Phoenix is really just going to be looking for those cannon minion farms. So in all, it's not an actual total loss that you're having to sit underneath your turret. It'll be a total loss when you ever come to the point that you are out of summoners and a dive is being threatened. So now just holding on with all that they can, as you know, like you mentioned, Gyu just wants to see if he can neutralize the lane, get out of it, and look for some more objective threats.
Phoenix on Ole will reset the lane. In fact, Ole's going to TP back down because a very early Drake has been started here for EG, and is trying to sneak one away here under 6 minutes, looking for that first Cloud Drake. But has been spotted, and we'll have to pull up the objective. Now just going to be a fight for it. He does get it. First Drake over to EG, and though he's going to cost him the double root as well. Finds definitely, but Matt with the Devour to try and keep his AD safe, but maybe he's the one in trouble now. Does have Flash, does have Cleanse, does have Shield, but has to burn it all, and will just live as the Axe almost gets the kill. And now Phoenix, another root, almost able to take down Definitely. So well played from the center.
Yeah, that was beautiful from Evil Geniuses, but the reply from Phoenix just showing him the powerhouse that this player is and getting that security for the kill and the bottom lane pressure as well. They're probably going to be able to take some turret plates off of this on top of it. Like they already got the first one in that side going over to them, actually deciding to recall instead, making sure that they can force the TP from Deathly to catch up on that wave. But now, like I mentioned, you have no summoners on this bottom side for Evil Geniuses. A dive is in the books here for Dig as they look down to this bottom end to possibly get another lead.
And if the lane, keeps going the way it has been going, you have to think that with the Lost Chapter now finished, Ole can push pretty quickly with Phoenix just on full-time harassment duty with the Serrated Dirk for that early lethality now finished. So we'll see if Dig can indeed line it up, but a killer piece here early on. That Drake does go to EG, which is a nice advantage, although not reflected in the gold. But other than that, it's been very close between the two sides.
Like I don't want to argue that the dragon being stolen is any sense of a loss. Like it's just one Cloud Drake. You can take it as it is. Sure, it gets them closer to a Dragon Soul later on, but it, like we mentioned last game, it's not something that you need to truly worry about. Demonte, though, being poked out by Gyu is a little bit more of a concern because you want to see if you can get Demonte to this comfort level of having that Archangel staff to where you can really catch Gyu off guard and just burst him out before he has any sense of replying to you and getting that mid under control. There's a root coming in from definitely getting caught. It's just, that is just have to tolerate it. You just have to take the punches when they come in.
Clearly a well-practiced lane. Phoenix on Ole, it feels like they do not miss with these skill shots, so continuing to push in. Again, that dive would be on the cards, but of course the jungler not in this area. As we can see, Grig and And are actually having a bit of a scuffle around the Raptors. That looks like Grig gets away with most of those. And nice bubble from Gyu again. Cassio great in mid to short range, but Zoe tends to like to play off your screen.
Oh yeah. Zoe and Azir, the ones that don't like to play when you're around, but are always there. On to see if he can take this red buff. He is going to secure it with Brandini roaming down and saying hello. So now Grig is starting to fall behind just a bit. He is going for a little bit more of a tankier Olaf build. You see the Ruby Crystal possibly going to be going for Phage first, just for that extra meat under his shoulders to help out in these trades early on, and especially when now that Rift Herald is in the eyes for Evil Geniuses who want to make sure that they can get this tempo. And of course, another reminder is that if Evil Geniuses wins this game, they tie with Dig.
Yeah, they can get themselves right up towards the top of the standings here and continue to hand Dig losses, which again is not something we really expected early on in the season, as blue buff does go to Anda actually, as Grid was trying to fight for it. So Gyu not able to get the blue, which I guess is a win for Dig, but Anda at least continuing to stay ahead of his opponent by keeping up the major buffs, as Brandini pushing things in here in the top lane. Lolo has been pretty quiet actually, but it does seem to be more of an AP build here with the Lost Chapter, so doesn't really need to win the lane, just wants to try and get the farm and then impact the team fights later.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to see how it continues to farm it out, because sometimes you could say you get the Lost Chapter for more lane sustain, but at this point I'm getting some interesting vibes with the Glacial Augment on top of that to boot. Like, this is just going to be that utility Nico, make it to where you're constantly zoning out. Like we said, like, you have 3 bindings on your team, and then you have the Miasma as well to just like keep people in place and then just poke them out from afar. But if there's any way for Evil Geniuses to get past that, then you're in a world of trouble, because there is damage out the wayside as now Showstopper forcing the fight.
Fight up at the ulti is going to keep them out. That will be the Rift Herald over to Dig as Grig will grab it. And Flash forced out as well for Brandini. Phoenix missing the route onto map, but he's going to keep chasing with Glacial Augment of his own, and does get the soul out of the Tahm Kench at least.
And I'm looking at, like, when I look at Evil Geniuses and I think of them as a team, the first thought to me is like an organization that picked up the scraps that not a lot of people really respected for. Like, Io, definitely Matt, like, you see them, you're like, all right, they're renowned players, they have their experience, but they're not someone that you would immediately grab when you're thinking of a fantasy draft. And seeing them now climbing through the ranks in Academy sort of shows that people didn't really put them out for the power that they are able to provide. And now going into Dignitas, they're really on par, punch for punch.
I mean, kind of like Liquid, EG Academy have been through a lot of changes throughout the split, right? Didn't get their intended jungler at all, had to bring in Ander instead, who didn't have a team to start the season. And that's worked out wonderfully. And of course, just got their intended mid laner this week. So yeah, it has been impressive to watch them, pick up wins in situations where, they were playing with a temporary mid laner. They had a completely different jungler. Like, the vision that they had originally for this team has not the one that is currently threatening for the top spots in Academy and potentially tying with Dig.
Yeah, just seeing a little bit of a wrangling going on. Dig seeing if they can force Ando away from this dragon. You know that Grig wants to take care of this. He is the objective player, and also someone that I think being down in Academy now will also help out Phoenix and Demonte shine a little bit more. As a matter of fact, Grig finds Ando.
Winning the 1v1 right now, but Ando gets out of the way, is forced to kick Grig and hop over the wall for the safety of the red buff. But with the bot lane pushing and the mid lane perhaps under control for Demonte, it does seem like this Drake is open for the taking for Dignitas.
Yeah, we're still seeing, I don't think Anda is going to be inching towards this dragon at all. So with that, it does forfeit that Mountain Dragon over to Dignitas, and it means that this squishy team that they've built up is going to be a little bit harder to beat down and deal with into this mid-game stage. It is an ocean map, though, to where I think of looking at how Evil Geniuses is, like, they want to get in your face and they want to keep you there. This soul is very important for them. As Dignitas, they might just say, you know what, as long as we can deny it away from Evil Geniuses, that's a win for us.
Yeah, it feels like giving Zoe the Ocean Soul always feels kind of bad. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Ocean Soul, I think, still considered the strongest soul. It's my favorite one. The Rift, at least, is my favorite Rift, but the souls in general, I'm just kind of like, yeah, they're good. Okay, if it happens.
People are still... they like the soul, but it's still the map, right? Like, a lot of pros complain about it because there's more bushes to deal with, so you have more vision that's, like, blocked out. Like, same thing with, like, solo queue. It's like, oh, crap, well, now it feels even worse when I don't buy a control ward and I keep forgetting about it. And you're just sort of sitting in this place where it's all worth it because this soul is absolutely ridiculous once you grab it. So just keeping that on the sort of back burner for now is now Brandini seeing if he could roam down to this bottom or mid lane as it is and find a possible pick or just spot out where Grig is, because this moment he's decided to drop Shelly mid.
Yep, found him. He's in mid, and plates are going to be trying to gift it over. Gee with a great bubble though. But Demonte going to put the miasma in just to try and ground the Zoe in place for a bit of extra damage, but just some plates being given over. Grig actually collecting a pretty healthy dose of extra gold there.
Yeah, he collected all of them. Demonte was just out of range of the turret collection to get any of it. So 500 gold straight to the veins for Grig is gotta feel great, especially like when you're Olaf and you need to get that power spike as fast as possible. He went for the Cinderhulk enchantment instead of the Phage that I thought, but he might want that additional gold just for that damage that we needed, right? Like, you need to get to this mid-game situation where you can just punch and for days, and especially for Brandini as well.
Here we go, ulti out from Lola, beautifully comboed in. The Showstopper will dodge a lot of it, but Grig able to finish off the kill pretty easily.
Going with about that one. Back to normalcy for Dignitas, as they do have control of the map. Not as like much of an economic differential. It's just that presence that these champions provide.
Oh, what a play for Anda. Kick Monte
beautiful.
back in. Completely outplays the Casio as Gyu and Anda team up for a kill in mid.
Anda, that was beautiful on that one. I didn't think it was actually going to come out to be a kill, but the cleanse came out early from Demonte, and the Sleepy Trouble Bubble came through at just the right time. That's some mind games going over in favor for Gyu once more.
Yeah, just really well played there as Gyu continues to look like he was always part of this team, which he was certainly intended to be, but again, he's been practicing with this team for over a week at most. Not very long at all.
Yeah, it's just a week, and like, if not just underneath 2 weeks, I believe.
True,
he came in, it was announced. Like, yeah, it was just a slight delay that they announced it, but it's still something. It's like within 2 weeks, and it looks like you've been here all day, and you're just outplaying Demonte. That's just an absolute win for Evil Geniuses, and it just reassures them that this was the right call for the long game. And at this point, see if they can continue to use him to the utmost potential. So he does go back, he does grab that Luden's Echo with the Sork shoes now. Goes ahead and grabs a couple more things on top of that, and maybe it'll like relieve some pressure that definitely matters, still constantly having to deal with before this turret falls.
It feels like the pain train here. Oh, Phoenix just cannot miss. Just poking.
And you can shoot through the turret.
Yeah,
it's just annoying. I hate it.
What a champion. I mean, Senna very powerful. So kind of surprised to see it get through, actually. But EG, they had a plan. I mean, farm-wise, definitely is doing just fine on the Aphelios, but they're about to lose this tower. They're about to give that gold over to Dig. And actually, that's the first tower, which that bonus did get increased recently as well. So Phoenix and Ole will get an additional buff of gold as they do manage to take down the first one.
Yeah, so it's something of like a hidden feature for those fasting Sennas, where even though you are 127 CS to 157, like that 30 CS differential for Ole and Deathly, it's not as big as it used to be, because of the fact that you're constantly getting way more gold and way more souls, and just those stats in particular help Phoenix out immensely. So just optimizing that means that those hidden stats and those hidden economy boosts are really helping out Dignitas in the long run, and just want to make sure that they can continue to ramp that one up, as next dragon will be available in 10 seconds, and you can see Dig looking to prime for it.
Getting back out on the map, Gyu trying to get a bubble, but does not connect there in the mid lane, and Grig trying to battle for some vision back here, but is currently in a 1v2 as Lolo and Brandini continue to 1v1 as well. Of note, Ole also has finished his first major item. It's not a Zhonya's that you might have thought, but he's actually just gone for Luden's Echo. I mean, he had the Lost Chapter, he needed to build it into something, but he's gonna be like an actual mid laner as far as item power goes.
I guess, like, it causes a little bit of a trouble, I guess, in laning phase, just a little bit, like, it makes it way more poke, but hold on, we got this fight coming in. TP from Bandit.
Well, there from Deathly, it's going to root them up, and they're going to try and steal it. Demonte, they're able to get the Drake, but no casualties just yet. Grig, though, drowsy, will pop the Ragnarok, but now has to run as Brandini is trying to start the fight up. Flash Showstopper in, finds it, Face Breaker is going to connect too, as Phoenix is the target, but Ole pops the ulti and flashes out of the way, and Dignitas going to get out of there, and no, he finds a snipe on the back end of it, as Phoenix will finally fall.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble on to
Deathly. Trying. I like it from Gyu. He's still nailing these bubbles as EG fight back. They'll take the bottom tower as well.
That was actually wonderful play there from Gyu and Brandini. The fact that they were able to zone out so much of that pressure. Like, yes, you do lose that dragon, but the fact that you get this turret and a couple kills, or at least one kill on this bottom side, still means that you are in the driver's seat. Dig really struggling here on this back foot. Like, yeah, you are going for this huge mage player for Orlo for Nico, which is still a big sort of, like, it's an awkward concern for me, because I was convinced, like absolutely convinced, that he was going to be going attack speed on hit Nico, and it's not turning out for the better, the fact that he's going utility mage.
Yeah, I mean, certainly more of utility, as you mentioned, more for team fights. Demonte going to get kicked and killed, and are continuing to make plays.
Yeah, you could see that one coming from a mile away. You just see sort of, all right, Gyu sort of wrangle him into that choke point right next to the turret. He can't really step anywhere at all, and Anda just says, all right, this one's free of charge, and now we really get to get ourselves online, take another turret, make that one the second one. Sort of actually like they caught up in turrets, because you did lose that mid one earlier from Demonte, but it's now going to be running up to this top side, seeing if they can catch Phoenix and Ole out. And this whole composition style of keep them away from, like, within arm's reach is not turning out for the better for Dig.
Yeah, EG just doing a great job of keeping up, but also just playing really well reactively and together. Like, they're going to take the Rift Herald here. Looks like Dig have been zoned far enough out that they can't really contest for this. So EG keeping up. They'll actually be ahead in gold about 500 or so. So the game is still very close between the two teams, but you know, EG, where it looked like they may have been struggling in some of the lanes and getting aggressed on and pushed in a little too much, they've completely bounced that game back. And 20 minutes in, we'll fight for this next Drake in 2 minutes and 40 seconds at pretty much even keel.
Yeah, and it's both these compositions sort of tell a tale of feeling like a slow game, but everything is in fast momentum and constantly being played out. Like, it's only been 20 minutes and it feels like these teams have been playing for 40 as just how the game progresses. And Phoenix making sure that, you know, even though we're behind, I still have this this massive power farming scale with Morgana to help out with. Once we get to those next few items, it's really going to start to hurt. And their only real way of plugging the hole right now is with Phoenix and Ole. Like, they need to make sure that this arms reach strategy stays as that is and they're not able to get deflected.
And he's actually going to force the Ragnarok here because Gyu again is causing trouble, and they're going to have to move away. Does kick as Matt also coming down, and that might be a kill. Face breaking, and that's a kill for Brandini as Grig is going to fall down. EG just find 4 people in the river somehow.
Yeah, do it, man. You got the corral going on with Mass Tom Kench. You grab that one up, but then now the third turret is taken down for Dig, and you know, that's what they needed to do, right? Like, if you're losing some pressure on the bottom side, see what you can take in the top end. Shelly is popped though, so now a lot of this presence is needed to be answered for this bottom side for Evil Geniuses. It does mean that with that recall with Shelly, with it losing the turret as well, means that they have a lot of time to just go back, grab some items, get their wards back online, and then prepare for that next neutral objective contestation, which to them could either be Baron or Dragon, because they have the damage for it.
Oh, Phoenix continuing to farm up and collect souls. Gyu continuing to be annoying. Oh my goodness! Just snipes Ole, and he's gonna run out of there.
Oh my god. Alright, Zoe is not going to use hands next. Whatever happens, this is absolutely insane. This is when, like, you're playing the Clash team, you scouted him out, you're like, alright, we don't need to worry about him. Oh, okay. Never mind. It's the one diamond on the team that's carrying the whole squad, but now Dig has to find an answer for it. They can't play this arm's reach, I guess, if Gyu is just doing it better than them.
Yeah, I mean, talked about again, these big, you know, AoE ultis from these mages, so Nico, Cassio, you know, the long range, the keep out, you know, that you're mentioning for Dig, but Zoe doesn't care about any of that. She just wants to poke you down and force something to happen. As Brandini actually going to move Devontae over the wall. Haymaker happens, and Gyu's in there again, and also roaming around, but the center ulti almost enough to save the teammate, but it won't be it as Grig looking to fall as well, and finds a Q and connects to make sure they get the second, but it is a 2-for-1 as Brandini did eventually fall. But EG, they got 4 strong around the objectives. They'll take it.
Yeah, Gyu and Andu, though, are fairly low. I could say that Dig could try and just do some poking, but they say, no, we're going to go ahead and forfeit this one. It's okay. It's 2 dragons apiece for these teams. Let's go ahead, grab some additional farm. You see the teleport from Lorlo just to catch that economy on the top side. And Gyu just absolutely dominating this game, especially with Anda. Like, you can't point him out. He's that hidden player in all of this and really letting his new mid laner shine.
Yep, full 1 and 2 for Anda. So participated in 6 of the 8 kills that EG had. At one point was part of all 4 for the first 4 that they picked up. So been very active on this Lee Sin. Gyu is also starting to ramp up some of the swagger as well as the farm and damage numbers, because that's Magi's with 7 stacks now on it.
Yeah. I don't know about that one, Chief. I never like seeing Magi Soul Stealer, especially in competitive, but hey, you know, if you're ahead like this, you're 2-0-5, and you feel like you're invincible, anytime's a good time for Magi Soul Stealer in those situations. So it's now this huge ego boost of, can EG continue to use this momentum and ramp up? Because, you know, you look at your early game, we had that condition of Definitely and Matt just need to tolerate the laning phase. They're now out of it. They're doing fine. They didn't give any kills over, and now they're able to really power creep and farm up while Gyu and Ando are zoning them around. And now Dig is sitting in that sense. Yeah, like, he's just not missing.
I mean,
and it's like, Dig, they have to answer. Yeah. They have to answer somehow.
Have a morph too with AP. Like, these are actually pretty beefy black shields. that Ole can try and apply, but he just can't protect everyone. And Giyu is at 1.2 levels ahead of Damonte, now only 1 as it's 15 to 14, but Brandini's happy in the side lane. Like, Digga just didn't
Can't answer Brandini because Lorlo could just get absolutely clapped by the fighting. Like, oh, that wasn't even a sleepy trouble bubble on that one either. Like, this is where you don't have any engagement tools whatsoever. It's all that, like, poke. You can't find a way to get on them, and you're in this awkward state of, okay, well, the only way that we're able to turn a fight is if EG starts a fight. And you never want to be in that situation when you're trying to create a lead.
And Bardini also just pushed off like 2 waves, I think, into the bottom inhibitor tower as well. So EG just have complete control of the map. And again, Dig need to find a 5v5. They have 2 items on their mid lane. They have 2 items on their Morgana alongside that Senna, who's also building up the soul count and getting her items in. They've got 2 on the Nico as well. Like, Dig have the tools to try and find a fight.
Yeah.
But I think EG are doing a really smart thing of just splitting up the map as much as they can.
Yeah, they're totally fine with just skirmishing and playing the macro game on this one. Like, if you really want to argue with Dig saying, okay, well, wait until Lorlo's flash gets up, and then if you find a snare, Lorlo flash ults onto somebody and it forces that fight, and that's your go button. Same thing with, you'd say, Grig. Like, if you get that binding, Grig just runs at him and tries to make sure that you chase him down, and it makes it to where Evil Geniuses sort of gets magnetized and pulls towards Grig, and that allows that trap to come into play, and then Dig can use this zoning pressure that their composition really thrives for to optimize it and to actually really put it into full effect. Like, right now, you're just getting poked out by a 100% hit rate Sleepy Trouble Bubble Geek.
Yeah, had to cleanse there. Actually took most of the damage just from the initial paddle star. But Damonte's now down a summoner, so he will die if he eats another Trouble Bubble, especially in the next 20 seconds or so before his flash will be back up. But Giyu is just running a clinic on how to play Zoe against Dignitas.
Yeah, some of the LCS players are probably watching this and taking some good notes because he is just running wild with this pickup. And now sitting at a scenario where all of these outer turrets are starting to fall apart. You have absolute pressure in Dignitas' jungle. What's next for them to grab? It's just see if you can blot out this vision and then really just find one single pick. Because if one member falls of Dignitas, then a lot of their defenses truly crumble with it.
Yeah, I think, like, how many offensive ultis have we seen from Dig? From their Morg, their Cassio, or their Nico?
I don't think I've seen one.
I feel like maybe one in the Rift Herald pit is the one I remember. But yeah, it's just been, they've been using their tools defensively because EG are the ones that keep finding fights. Although Hold That Thought is definitely...
Like, here it is. This is the binding. Go
gonna
in.
be in trouble. Binding lands, but again, the Devour from Tom Kent will deny it. That's the Nico clone, so no follow-up there for Lolo. And I mean, they get something out, but just a cooldown from out, which will be back in, 10 seconds or so.
Yeah. It's just like, you gotta find those bindings. Now you have the flash ult available for Lorlo. This is the time to make that play. This is where you have to get it because you're 4,000 gold down. Your map is just completely shrink down.
Brandini.
Do you not see anything?
Flash
Brandini.
showstopper. Phoenix gonna get locked down. He's dead. Giyu, of course, able to find the kill. Making 11 stacks in the book right now. And a TP in from Dig as well. 5v4 as the Drake spawns. I feel like Dig is starting to panic.
Yeah, this is the panic mode. Like I was just mentioning, you aren't able to find where Evil Geniuses is, and Brandini immediately does what I was telling Lorlo to do. Flash ult onto somebody, get the kill, and make sure that you have the pressure. And now you see with one member down from Dig, their defenses start to crumble, and now you're getting a lot of pressure putting and being applied into this mid lane with you just missing that one onto ult.
He was zooming. I feel like he's level 16, so he's got a lot of points in Spell Thief regardless, but he was just like swimming down mid lane there.
Yeah.
As they get the Drake as well. I mean, he like 1v2 kept them out of even getting near the Drake pit as Evil Geniuses pick up Drake number 3. So extremely impressive performance on this champion. But as you mentioned, can't undersell the rest of EG either. They've been executing very well across the board. And I think, again, the more veteran players of Matt and Ander do deserve some credit there because whatever is happening for how they want to play the game, for what win conditions they're playing to, for how they're, assigning these lanes, EG have just continued to look cleaner and cleaner as the weeks have rolled on.
Yeah, and that's something where it's always making sure that you're meeting not only your team conditions, but also your player conditions as well when you go into these matchups, right? Like Brandini, definitely, and Matt, all three of them, their condition as just a player in this game is survive, play it safe, have as much map time as possible so you can allow your team the capability of what your your entire composition is, which is do things like that, just kill people.
That is,
and get the poke. Like allowing this, like all of this is happening because not only is Gyu finding these picks, it's because Evil Geniuses is not allowing Dignitas to gain any sense of footing.
I'm pretty sure Airy killed Phoenix there, by the way. Deathcap's now finished for Gyu alongside 15 stacks. So this is a very potent Zoe, but I think there was a Paddle Star, a Bubble, and then Airy finished the job at the end. As Ole, yeah, you better put the shield up, and Gyu's going to try and chase it. Grig, he's zoned out, he can't even get to the Baron. Evil Genius is just going to take the objective.
This is ridiculous. Like, this is just
oh my god, he doesn't miss!
Geniuses. I love it. Oh, he doesn't do it.
Better cleanse.
Did it again.
He cleanses, I mean, you have to. Once he knows he's going to die. This is like...
oh my god.
If you're the enemy...
This is it's third-party software. Are you scripting?
it's nightmare, right? This is like, this is the most terrifying Zoe is when she's, you don't have vision, you have no control of the map, she's completely fed, and just hitting every skill shot. Like, this feels impossible to play against.
Oh, definitely. And it's all around the fact that the team is playing perfectly around what they needed to do, and Dignitas is, like, again, you got to commend him for trying something new, but this is something that when you fall behind, you feel it, and it hurts. It hurts a lot, because now this whole, like, composition where you could say they're RPing it and saying, yo, this is a social distance comp, we just want them 6 feet away from us. Like, it don't work. Like, they're everywhere, and they're within you, and you cannot keep them away.
This is also why Zoe is so prized in pro play, by the way, because when she gets ahead, she just doesn't let you do anything. And EG
it's just not fun.
With the Baron pushing 3 waves, like, this is a dream scenario. Like, EG with this Baron are going to explode the game as far as gold goes. And might die, but that well-timed stopwatch and a dash back to Gyu is going to be more than enough to keep him safe.
Yeah, like, you're doing great. Everyone's doing exactly what they wanted to do, and like Aphelios is fed. Anda's just absolutely huge. He's 5-1-4. Like, this is fairly much Evil Genius's game.
Yeah, 17 stacks for the Zoe, perfectly placed GLP. Again, the combination between Gyu and Anda has looked exceptional in this game, and that's been very little practice together. A nice help from the one-saver. A cleanse out there from Matt. The Nexus almost about to be opened up. And the 32 minutes here is EGA just going to try and put the finishing touches on the game. The turrets are down. The Baron minions are shooting in. There's no one hibs left. There's nothing. There's no hope. The Nexus down as Evil Genius Academy will defeat Dignitas, who have their first ever 0-2 weekend, Coco.
First ever.
And that
is a huge statement for Dig. Like, they could have had it maybe 1 or 2 other times, but I am pretty sure that is the first ever 0-2 weekend for Dignitas Academy, and that's not what you want out of this. Like, this is something I'm looking at, like, I'm looking at Dig, and I'm like, okay, what do you guys, like, what was the thought process on trying to push this one out? Like, it's week 8, you want to make it into playoffs, like, you could get this #1 spot and get the bye, but you're just not really caring to find it? Are you that confident that you'll be able to take this series no matter what, the season no matter what?
I think after this weekend, Dig, clearly are kind of working on how they want to, play the game and continue. Like, they have a new jungler that has to be considered. That that Greg and Acadian swap has happened again. Clearly, teams are starting to figure them out, and DIGA have kind of lost the thing that let them win so many games, which was we're just skilled players. We win in the early game, and we're ahead of every other team on like macro and how to organize games because we're a team full of like very veteran players. Now the teams have had times to gel, to build chemistry, to find teamwork, and those same things don't work anymore. Like, I don't know if that's the first 0-2 weekend for Dignitas, but I'm so confident that it must be that I just said it. That's how topsy-turvy Dig's story has gone from the first few weeks to week 8.
Yeah, like, it's just flabbergasting, really. It's just something that I just can't really put my brain around it just through how, like, my initial thoughts of all these teams were. Like, EG, didn't expect them to be popping off like they are now, but they're doing it, and they're doing it splendidly. So for me, you go into week 9 for EG, your confidence is huge. You got your true mid laner who feels like he's been here since day one. Mm-hmm. So really just run it down to the playoffs and get to that point where, you have everything in your field.
All right, I guess it's time to give our brains a rest because we're stepping away to set up our next matchup, which is Immortals versus TSM Academy. Don't go anywhere.